I was hoping that you was gonna continue on that diatribe when I went live.
Yeah.
I was hoping that you would, and you kind of stopped.
Is that what you said? What's going on?
Welcome to the 32nd iteration of the Talking Shit podcast. I am Dr. Evil Genius.
And I am Captain Paul. And welcome to another episode. I think this is my second one. So it's good to be here. I've been a silent backer in the background. What is that called? A private or a silent partner, something like that. So
yeah,
it's good to be back.
AKA useless.
Oh shit, God! First attacking my whiteness, now this. Continue.
You know how capitalism is. The people that
that's true.
that profit the most do none of the work. Yeah,
I'm
you know what I mean?
The American dream, building my channel off a black man and not doing
it. Yo. So, it's been, a long running joke that Captain Paul is a mythical, I don't know, how would we say, a leprechaun of sorts?
I mean, it's kind of racist, but I guess.
Oh man, you're getting the roast into your life today.
Oh,
it's coming.
I know. Shit. But it's good to be back. It's good to actually be back into this and get into a groove. So it's kind of crazy because what Captain Paul has been doing this whole time, he has not come to work and done his job. He'll want to get in a conversation with me either via text message or on the phone, and he does the entire fucking show in a private conversation. Like, nigga, this is what we created this fucking platform for. Right before we go on the air, he starts going on some fucking viral content fucking worthy diatribe. I'm like, nigga, yuck, let me press the fucking go live button. What the fuck? Well, it's one of those things, man. I'm a man of the moment, and shit, it is what it is. I just been kind of busy with life and shit. And work's been actually kind of a pain in the ass with a lot of this shit.
Yeah, so talk to us because people want to know, what good reason you have for not showing up to work.
I'll just put it this way, man, is that and I'll fully amount. There's some times I definitely should have been still producing content. I try to do the one-off videos by myself with the camera phone when I'm on the boat, but for a lack of a better excuse, it's just I've been so wrapped up in work, man, and there's been dudes that I think I even told you guys haven't shown up to work, so I've had to work over, and I don't know, man. Sometimes with my boat, you don't get good signal. And then you also kind of in a situation where you can't get off the fucking boat, at all.
Right.
So I was on there for 3 weeks, even one time 4 weeks, and then we even crew changed late this time, and it's just that's actually going to be changing very soon because something I don't want to say too much publicly, but something's going to be changing here soon. So I'm going to hopefully get a little bit more of a stable schedule because this is getting to the point a little bit fucking ridiculous. But so it's just been working, man. Not really too much. Like I said, made the videos off the camera phone every once in a while, but it's been pretty hard trying to record on the boat because when I get off, I've been doing this past hitch. I did at least around 20 hours of overtime. So I already work 12-hour days. So there'd be times where I wouldn't go to sleep. I'd be working 16 hours. So it's just pain in the ass. So yeah, I've been in the ocean eating people. So exactly, blind bat. But no, I'm just excited to get into it. We Evil and I had a very long conversation about what we want to do, and we actually have some big things planned. So
well, before we get into that, I'm pretty sure people want to know when you're on the boat, what is life like when you're working? Because I know there were a couple of times we tried to do, you tried to get on the MMA show. and dudes are getting knocked the fuck out, and you're just like, I'm on Narcan right now. I'm sorry, I'm knocking out right now. I yeah. So when you're on the boat and it's like, what is a day's work like, and then what is it like when you go through a 12-hour shift and you're like, well, we're gonna need you for another 4 hours.
Yeah, it's so essentially my day. I'm essentially charging the maintenance of the vessel, and so like I'll be during the summer and stuff like that, chipping, painting, anything that kind of needs to be done. I do a lot of line splicing new lines, tying up the boat. And I'm not saying like lines like they're fucking, for example, like I'm not saying nice light lines. Like I was just actually showing someone how to splice the other day, showing my girl how to splice, do eye splices and stuff. It's not like light line like this. It's like, it's heavy fucking line that you're throwing. It's like a lot of weight behind it. So it's just like kind of one of those things that when you do a lot of like going on like essentially it's a 499 feet and 6-inch long vessel. And like when you're tying it up, you have a ton of lines and stuff like that. It's just you're moving a lot of weight. So essentially maintenance, tying up the boat, bringing the boat in, pretty much everything that needs to be done, I do it. Due to me being the newest on the boat, even with my credentialing, trying to work my way up through this company, like I cook and shit. So it's just it's a pretty long day. A lot of more of the physical stuff, like with the shackles, tying up and stuff like that. That kind of wears you out. And after being on your feet for like about 12 hours and you're doing all that shit, you just, dude, after like you've seen it on the pod, like when I try to do the MMA watch when the connection isn't dog shit, I'm just wiped, bro. I'm like fucking falling asleep. So it's just like it's long. But like I said, I'm hoping to have a little bit more.
That's why God created methamphetamine, right?
I mean, like if it was legal in our industry and I wasn't drug tested, I would. I'm not gonna lie. I try not to drink even coffee, dude. Like I try to stay away from like some of the caffeine
stimulants. Yeah.
I just because it does make my body feel off. So I used to be super heavy into coffee. Like I drink like 3 thermos fucking fulls of it. So I try to stay away from it. But that's essentially what I've been doing, man. It's just working. And that's pretty much.
I bought the ladies of the house. I bought them a $1,200 coffee maker. It took me 11 months to get it from the company that made it. Yeah.
What company?
Spin, and Spin with 2 N's.
Oh, shit.
There were some issues with them, with the shipping.
Yeah.
But the ladies loved that machine. I took my father a thermos of it a few weeks ago, and he raved about it too. So I don't drink coffee at all. I don't really care one way or the other. But he's also not a coffee connoisseur either, and he was able to taste the difference. So it's like, all right, they're getting the most out of it, and it looks like when they buy like different types of coffee beans, they're going to get different, I guess, grades or styles of coffees out of it. So I'm like, hey, as long as they are happy with it, I'm happy with it,
Yeah.
But, when I get my stimulants, it's more of, I guess my stimulants are closer to meth than coffee, simply because it's like synthetic. It's like pre-workout shit, like I use like the pre-workout powders, so especially like if I don't really want to be sleeping during the daytime or the early evening, I'll just, take a little hit of that pre-workout to stay focused and to stay energetic. So I definitely feel you about trying to generate one's own energy. That's something that I try to, that I am a proponent of, and I try to get my clients to, try to get them to do, create your own energy, because, when you're using, the caffeines and stuff, you're really just depleting your adrenal stores, and that's supposed to be reserved for, life preserving endeavors, like, jumping out of a way of a bus, or, tearing apart the jaw of a hungry lion that's trying to eat you, or whatever. I don't care.
Well, like, and I think it comes down to a greater, because we're going to talk about a little bit. Like, I've been actually trying to like get a little bit of workout in the boat, but the problem is with my job, and I definitely did a way better job about it this time, not caving into certain cravings. But the guys on the tugboats, like, they eat like shit. I'm being honest with you. Like, they eat like shit. Like, they buy a lot of packaged shit. And you try to stay away from that, bro. But like, I'll be honest, man, when there's not much there and you're fucking tired and you don't feel like making it, oh fuck, I'll just grab a few things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like one of those things that I'm like, oh,
the processed garbage, man.
And that's something I slipped into the past couple months, and I was kind of like leveling, and I was like, you know what, man, I really need to, especially with the whole Rona shit. I'm like, I really want to get, for my own, personal health, I want to get healthy again. I want to get into a good weight range and get healthy. And I was falling into that. And like, I'll be honest, a lot of the guys on the boats, dude, they are not, there's some guys in good shape, but like, it's called the Tugboat 20. And it's like, you don't.
I thought that like it cost $20 to, never mind.
No, I know what you mean, get head. But, my thing, my thing is is like, you got to just watch what you eat. And I did a better part of it this past hitch, because I'm like, okay, I got to stop eating this processed shit. But my diet there took a hit when I was on the boats, because like you're expending a lot of energy, but then you're also intaking like a bunch of high amount of sugar and bullshit into you. So it's like you're not seeing the results. And that's like, I went to my doctor, I had a physical done. He's like, I need to start drinking like a lot more water, because I have like 4 kidneys, and I need to really start hydrating myself, because I'll drink a lot of water on the boat, but then it's just I don't know, man. With all that sugar and shit with it, and then not drinking enough when I'm home, it's kind of throwing my system a little out of whack.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us struggle with water intake. A lot of the directives that we're seeing from health professionals, they're saying, you don't need to drink 128 ounces per day. Like, there's no specific number. People are good on a half gallon or 3/4 of a gallon. Drink when you're thirsty is now the directive. But I think that a lot of times, especially in the society that we live in today, it's so easy for us to just ignore the thirst, the thirst response that we get. And so a lot of times when we are thirsty, we don't even recognize it as such. So,
right.
I think that at least just to kind of get back into the flow, it's important to drink water even when you don't feel particularly thirsty.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
but kind of get into a health. I'm actually going to be throwing you kind of a sidebar, and I apologize for this. But have you seen that? There's actually kind of an article with CNN that I think kind of gets dangerous. So with some of its verbiage about health, and they saying like how saying obesity could be detrimental to you if you do get the Rona. They say like some reporters are saying that they shouldn't be using that type of language. Do you think it is kind of, we're in a bizarre world right now where we just can't obviously state that like, hey, if you're overweight, things are going to affect you more? Don't you think it's kind of a bad precedence for certain people to start kind of censoring it and being like, obesity is healthy? And we've had this discussion in a lot of different podcasts, even in conversations privately. But do you think we're kind of getting in a place where this type of censorship is kind of dangerous just for the health of the youth? Like, if we can't just call it how it is, how being obese isn't healthy.
I'll give you an example of what you're talking about. So Louis Rossman did an Ask Me Anything, or AMA live stream in response to him reaching 1.7 million subscribers. Shout out to the venerable, honorable Louis Rossman for hitting. He's about 300,000 short of now 2 million subscribers, and he's done it just on consistency, hard work, and being a straight shooter. And so I was in his chat. I was in his chat last night, and we kind of got into that subject, and one of the people was kind of debating me on the concept of fat shaming.
Mm.
And my position is that fat shaming is a good thing. I think that a healthy amount of shame helps people to change behaviors that are detrimental to themselves. So, he's like, well, people have a bunch of different kinds of problems, and it's like, well, that might be so, but human beings have always had a lot of problems to deal with. But it's only in the last 40 years that the waistline has exploded. So we can't use that as an excuse. We can't continue to coddle people's feelings, because let me tell you something. There are a lot of people out there that say, well, I feel just fine. No, you don't. You have programmed yourself to ignore pain and discomfort that you feel on an everyday basis, that you write off as, just a fact of life, something that is unavoidable. When in reality, your discomfort and the pain that you feel on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis is based upon your fucking eating choices and the fact that you don't move.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people are just trying to take the easy way out, but there is nothing in this world that is worth anything where you could just take the easy way out and attain it.
Yeah.
So, when people are saying, oh, being obese, they want to change the meaning of words. They want to change, because it's that feel good. It's bullshit. It's nonsense, because you don't feel good. You don't feel good when you look in the mirror. You don't feel good in your body. You feel sluggish.
Yeah. Well, and I'll absolutely agree with that. I think that the problem is that, like, for someone like me, who I've always been up and down with weight, right? So I can kind of relate why some people struggle with it. A lot of it, I'll just completely, I think I've said this probably in the past, but like, I played hockey my whole life, right? And then when I stopped playing hockey as frequently as I did, because before I used to just eat like shit. I'll just be blunt. Like, I ate whatever. It didn't matter. I would just burn it off. But then you realize, like, as you get older, it's like, oh man, I'm gaining some more weight here. And oh shit, I'm packing on the pounds. And it's because you don't realize how much energy I was using beforehand, and how much, younger, maybe a higher metabolism, and just like the way, the lifestyle. So I don't, like, there's been lows I've gotten back down to the, like, 170s, 180s, but then I'll go up. So I'll be around 210 or something like that. And it's like, it's constant ups and downs. So I understand when people struggle with it, but let's just be honest.
Absolutely.
It's not healthy, right? I don't like being unhealthy, but I think just looking yourself in the mirror and realizing, like, you're going to have moments, I think, where you fall back, and you got to really, it is hard to do this, but you got to try to make it a life change. You can't just do it a diet, right? Like, people will go on these crash diets, they'll start fasting and stuff like that. Because I did that shit once. I did the fasting thing. I lost weight really, really, really quick, but then I just packed it on just as fast back. Right?
Yep.
Because it's not a sustainable type of lifestyle.
No, actually, it sets you backwards. People don't understand that. But what we're at, and let me just explain that real quick for the uninitiated. When you go on starvation diets, the number on the scale does change downward, but a fair percentage of the weight that you lose is non-adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is fat tissue, okay? When you're losing lean mass that has a calorie cost, when you go back to your old eating habits, you have less lean mass to burn off what you're taking in. So since your overall basal metabolic rate also drops, the rate at which you burn calories at rest, since that drops, when you go back to your old way of eating, you're going to pack on the pounds even faster because you don't have the lean mass to counter the food that you went back to eating because you got happy with the weight loss that you saw on the scale. But here's what it really breaks down to in spirit, okay? Human beings are always going to take the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
And it is much easier to try to get people to change the meaning of words than it is to do the work necessary to get the results that you wish you could get. Let's look at Seditionalist's comment here. Like with all criticism, is either constructive or destructive. Fat shaming in my opinion, is destructive, as if fatties don't know they're fatties. Being constructive is the hard part. I'm going to push back on this, okay? Because I hear all of this, but you have to look at it like this, or at least consider this. Mm-hmm. When you look at throughout human history, how have we kept people's behavior in check with public shaming? When you look at how society has been fraying at the seams and now tearing at the fabric, what has correlated timeline wise with that? The removal of standards, the removal of societal standards, the removal of shame, because now you can't judge anything. You can't judge people on their character. You can't judge people on their actions. You can't judge people on the outcomes of either their discipline or their lack of discipline. Yes, fatties do know they're fat. But you know what's also different? It's actually being looked at as normal, so there's no reason for them to change. But you know what's really funny? And we talked about this in Louis Rossman's stream last night. Notice how, and this goes for both fat men and fat women. Neither one of them are like, oh, wow, I want a woman or a man that looks like me. Because they don't. Yeah. They're not attracted to that.
Yeah. No, and
I got to tell you, all the times I've had obese women try to match with me on dating apps, trying to shame fit men that have the discipline for wanting women to have the same discipline that we have.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if they were happy about their position, they would be seeking out other overweight people to date. But they don't do that. Fat men don't want fat women, and fat women don't want fat men. And you cannot negotiate attraction. So these people know, to traditionalist point, these people do know that the behavior, specifically the lack of discipline, they know that it is not a good thing. So, but they're trying so hard to try to convince everybody that being overweight is a good thing. It's like, why are you not putting that effort in to changing your lot in life? Why? Because it actually requires real work, and they don't want to do the work. And that's why they deserve the shaming. Being fat itself does not deserve the shaming. The lack of commitment to improving yourself and then trying to get everybody to go along with whatever you're doing, that's what deserves the shaming, in my opinion.
To be fair to traditionalists, and this is where I will agree, right? If you're just going to, mind you, if you say a comment like, hey, man, you packing on a few pounds might be a good idea to lose a little bit of weight, right? Or, you know, if you have a preference, like you said, dating, you're not into that, just like, hey, I'm just not into that. That's fine. But when you get to the point where it's like, maybe it's like overly fucking the top, where it's like, oh, you fat fuck, or all this shit, like, you know, just nothing but derogative type terms. It's like, that's where it probably gets.
But I don't think it's never been that, though. I think that's a false. I think that's a straw man when you say, well, when all that it is. No, people have been giving tips. People have been saying, here, you need to drink more water. We need to change our diet.
No,
like people have been saying that. And no, I don't want to. I want to eat cake and sit around.
I understand where you're coming from, but I'm saying there are some of those people that are just poor motivators. And I'll put that in a very, I guess, a more positive term, where they'll just be kind of just dickheads about it. I do agree that you can't just make things complacent like health, where it's like now obesity's healthy, which makes no sense.
Right, but that's where they're going with it.
Right. I don't think that's good. I actually do think a little bit of shame is good. Like when I was
it's healthy.
When I was hockey, baseball, football, just, you know, they get the fucking let out, you fat fucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you know, and that player would, you know, get better, or fucking they would just suck, either or. If you were driven,
and they don't get ice time. Better. It's that fucking simple.
So, and
like when I watch my Rangers play, right? There are times where I see that they will they'll be near center ice. There may or may not be a line change. They dump into the offensive zone, and then you look to see who's skating. Right? You look to see who on the defense is skating. You look to see who on the offense is skating, and who beats who to the puck.
Yeah.
And time again, as hockey fans, we get pissed off. We're not like shaming the guy. Oh, you shouldn't play hockey. No, when you don't put the requisite effort into doing whatever it is that you know you're supposed to do, you're going to piss people off.
Oh,
and that goes in any sphere.
Absolutely. I think that, you're
You're 3 strides ahead of the guy, and he beat you to the puck along the boards. I'm pissed off now.
Shame isn't a bad thing. And Jake DeBrusk is a fucking Boston Bruin player. He's like criminal that just does not achieve. You fucking lazy. All the talent in the world, but just lazy as fuck. But yeah, no, back to the point is that, like, hey, a little bit of shame, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And but
we're trying to remove all shame. And where I will agree with you and traditionalists is that when you go to either extreme, you're in danger.
Exactly.
Extremes are bad.
Well,
okay.
So speaking of extremes,
unless you're getting that extreme sloppy toppy, you know what I'm saying? So requires a little bit of cleanup after, but
Speaking of extreme sloppy toppy or overreaching, you want to talk about a certain guy, Jack Murphy, or you want to kind of go? All right,
so you know what? We're gonna let you give the introduction to the whole Jack Murphy thing. Why don't you go ahead and kind of give your synopsis, and then I'll give whatever I understand it to be, and then we'll go to the video clip.
So for you that don't know who Jack Murphy is, he's essentially kind of like a conservative red pill, like alpha male type guy. Gives advice on how to be a true man, and like there's a lot of viral clips. You can go look him up and do far better justice than what I'm going to say here. He was on a podcast or a show, Sydney Watson's show, and just a paid comment came up. What's that called? A super chat came up about a cuckold article that he wrote a few years ago. And instead of staying within his masculine frame, first time he got a little aggravated, say, hey, I don't want to talk about it. It's not even what the fuck people think about it. And the second time, another super chat came up. And I guess in this show, and I did look into a little bit, it is true, they'll read every single super chat, regardless of how heinous some of the shit said, which we can have a whole different discussion on. And essentially he freaked the fuck out, saying like, fuck you, you're a piece of shit for that. And says like, and fuck you, heartfelt. Like, he was very butthurt about the situation. And, maybe that was kind of a foreshadowing of how butthurt we truly found out he would get. But it turns out Jack Murphy wasn't necessarily living the life that he proclaimed he did. So that my synopsis of a man that's overreacting, kind of got like, exposed on a podcast for a past article. And then some adult entertainment videos came out, with Jack Murphy in them. I haven't watched them. I've just heard that it's a bunch of sword fighting. So it's very, very interesting how this big old alpha male red pill guy, all about masculine frame, all about like staying very manly. And like, I always kind of thought there was a little bit of kind of show on there, because it was kind of like overcompensation in a way. But very, very funny for a guy like that. Found out he's doing certain films with other guys in rooms, and and a bunch of fluid going, not inside of him. So that's my synopsis of this whole story. A bunch of tomfoolery and swordplay, abundance going on.
Well,
I'm trying to keep this PG, man. Like, God.
Well, what you're saying is his cinnamon buns were getting glazed. Okay, so I'm gonna give my take for what I know about it. This guy wrote an article in the past claiming that he was not in his proper masculine frame. He was in a relationship with a woman, and then he got into a relationship with a different woman, and then he was sending her out there to get her back blown out. And for her to also get, 1.5 teaspoon protein shots down the gullet. Mm-hmm. And how that made him feel like he was in his proper, masculine frame or whatever. And, when it came out that it was actually him, and he had already put himself out there as this, super masculine guy that all men should want to be like. People called bullshit, and rightfully so, when you consider that a lot of people don't really understand BDSM, particularly the dominant, submissive. They don't really understand that kind of dynamic, right? So for the way they see it, they're like, hey, everything that we know is if some other dude is smashing your chick, you a bitch. And you can't be trying to sell me on being an alpha if you got other dudes slamming your chick. So very quickly, when people started to call him out, he had a choice to make. He could double down, or he could try to, shrink back from it and say, oh, ha, 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 I was just, kidding. And what I believe happened is that when he kind of pulled back on that a little bit, people were like, well, we smelled bitch, now we see bitch.
Yeah.
We don't really have a whole lot of respect for what you did, because if he would have just explained it in a way that made sense from the kink community standpoint, a lot of people probably would have said, you know what, that's not my cup of tea, but you do you.
Yeah.
But when he got hyper defensive about it, people say, oh, look, he is a cuck bitch, because there is a difference. Yeah. There is a difference between a person living a hot wife's cuck lifestyle and a stag. What is a stag? What do they call? Some sort of dogging thing, where you have the stag. Oh, the stag vixen lifestyle versus the hot wife cuck lifestyle. There is an actual definitive difference between the two. Yeah. On the cuckold hot wife thing, the wife is more attractive. She has more, she's elevated in status above the man because of her sexual attractiveness, and he is seen as less than because he is not in his masculine frame, or he has a small dick or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And the other one, right, when you have the vixen stag, kind of thing going on, right? You have a guy who is like, listen, I'm the top dog here, right? I can do whatever I want, and as part of my authority, if I tell her to go suck that dick, she's going to go suck that dick. Now, those are two very different things if you actually dig into it. But most people are going to be like, especially men, like, no. Like, anybody touching my woman, unacceptable, not trying to hear that, right? But the thing is, he didn't even try to explain the difference between the two, right? He just, he froze deer in the headlights because he is a fake. Like some other guys that we know in the manosphere, you're trying to act like, and then you want to lead other men and tell other men how to lead their life. But in your actual life, the way that you're living it, you don't even believe in what you're doing, because you may have sent her out there to go get smashed, right? But when people called you out on it, you couldn't even stay in your masculine frame. You could not stand your ground for long enough to explain to people, like, I don't have men fucking my ladies. I don't have that, right? But I was able to explain his dynamic with that woman better than him. So, and I get where you're coming from. I like whatever, not to kink shame and stuff like this, but there's also other stuff. No, kink shame. Shaming is healthy. Here on the Talking Shit podcast, shaming is healthy. So, but like my thing is this: is that? Oh, one second. Shout out to traditionalists. He said, "Gotta go about to stuff my fat fuck face with some delicious home cooked paella my lady made, and I better enjoy it if I want some sloppy toppy dessert." Peace. Right. Hey man, get what you got to get, you know what I'm saying? But this is also a place for self-improvement. Like, we show love and respect to men here on this platform, but how do we show real love to our fellow man? Do we get our buns glazed? No. We tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And if you need a little bit of prodding to start doing right by your body after you enjoy that delicious home cooked paella, right? We're going to be given a lot of tips on things that you can do to improve your overall fitness and your overall quality of life. That's what we are here for. You're going to have to take a little bit of the chiding. You're going to have to take a little bit of that shame, but we have some actual useful things to bring on the back end of that if you don't check out too quick. So thank you for coming by. You are a valued member of our community. Continue, Captain.
So what I'm going to say is this, is that there's also other things that came out from, Murphy's, like that article, other things about him being in adult films with other men and stuff like that.
You and I, we talked about this in the back channels.
Each their own, bro, I guess, right, bro? But like, listen, like you can't go on about being alpha and how you like he actually had a like, oh, I wouldn't let anyone see my butt, and when meanwhile, fucking Ted over there is bending you over and splitting your wig. Like it's just, it's one of the things for me is I think it's an act. Personally, I've always seen it as an act. If you are getting like 3-4 guys, I don't have like whatever the amount, right?
He took his big apple, told him to turn over,
splitting them. You can't say that you're an alpha male, bro. What?
Bo, he took his apple, told him to turn over, and then glazed him like a toaster strudel.
My man has that beard hair, so when they're fucking him from the back, they have reins to pull him on and just keep going. Yo, bro, like I'm just saying, man, to each their own. I don't care. It's 2022. God bless America. You do you, boo. But I'm just saying, don't try to come off as this hyper straight, hyper masculine male when, like, Frank from accounting is bending you over and fucking you roughly from behind, calling you like, I don't give a shit. I don't. And listen, I don't care what you're into. You straight. You gay.
And you could be a masculine gay guy. You can be.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I see them every day in the gym. All right.
But don't give off this fake persona of you being in your frame where I'm like, bro, like apparently, and I'm not gonna go down that road because I'm not into it. But apparently there's videos of him on his back taking like dick. So to me, listen, whatever. Each their own. And you know what? This gets to a greater discussion.
You have the quarterback and the wide receiver.
Like Aaron Hernandez, he went in as a tight end, went out as a wide receiver in life. So this is the thing, bro. Like this goes into a greater conversation for me. Is that I'm gonna go into another topic, right? with porn people, right? Like, so there's
no, we're gonna go there in a second, but before oh my God, before we go there,
go deep.
Yeah,
let's show the clip.
We've already been told that this show's been hard to get advertisers on.
Yes.
Get out of town.
That is why the super chats mean a lot to us.
Now look at his face. Wait. Look at how he's kind of leaned back, right?
Yep.
Right?
Sure.
He's looking all comfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at how his body language changes over time, right? He's looking like a cross between Kris Kringle and Hulk Hogan, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Advertisers
supporting us.
Thank you.
Because you guys are the advertisers. That's why we try to get through all of these and read all your
All right,
comments.
I got a few
Even
more.
if you're trapping me. No, I want to read this one first. Because I started it. I'm going to finish what I started. Anamorphosis says, Elijah, and I apologize for this in advance, Jack. Asked
boy.
Murphy about the article he wrote about literally cuckolding his wife. I wish I was joking. True alpha.
Wow.
True.
Wow, you went there with that. I have absolutely no comment on that other than to say that whatever people's perception is about that, it's 180 degrees wrong. And
and the thing is, here, I gotta. Isn't this exactly what the fuck I said?
Yeah.
It's exactly what the fuck I said.
Yep.
And I was able to explain in plain English the difference between hot wife cuckold and vixen stag. Okay? Same typical action, but with a completely different angle to it. In one of these situations, the woman is dominant over the man, but submissive to other men. And in the other situation, the man is dominant over the woman. And then to further stamp her worthlessness within the context of BDSM, he also has other men, because we already know that a lock that opens by many keys is a shitty lock. He wants to prove her worthlessness as a lock by basically saying no matter what you stick in there, a penny, a quarter, a key, a paper clip, a piece of paper is going to turn that key and is going to turn that lock and it's going to open regardless. To further show his dominance over her. Now, he could have explained that. He could have done that. But instead of doing that, he takes this approach.
Has nothing to do with people think what they're thinking it to be today.
Are we talking about sex right now?
Do you know what cuckolding is?
I totally thought
It's
you were
where
reading...
you get a chicken and you hold it and you
No,
love it.
I just blanked
and
out
then
for a second.
You make more chickens.
What?
We
I
don't
have
kink
chickens.
shame.
I like chickens.
If you have a hen house, that's great. That's you should have your own eggs. Great.
We don't
supply,
kink shame.
Great for protein.
You are here does not kink shame. I want to bring that out, that we do not kink shame. If you don't want to have, if you hate women, don't want to have any sex at all, that's your lifestyle. Or if you're a nude model, that's your lifestyle.
You can in fact be you can be both at the same time.
Or if you want to sleep with trans Elijah, Ellie Schaefer.
Literally,
if you want to breed
if
him,
you want to have
that's
sex
okay.
with my ankles, maybe. Kez might allow it.
Brian Schultz says Merry Christmas and Happy First.
It's true. Brett Ain't Dad said, unfortunately, the proliferation of technology leads to authoritarian collectivism. Future looks gay. Merry Christmas, Sid and Jack and Elijah.
Mr. Dick and Balls says, "Hey Jack."
See, that's what she does.
You said
She
Mr.
does
Dick
this.
and Balls.
Like she reads it like that's normal. Like it's not even. She's not even saying, "I'm not gonna skip the name." She just goes, "Mr. Dick and Balls said."
Could you please clear up the cuck article you wrote?
I am not going to talk about
Again?
this.
Okay.
And basically, you know what? Fuck you for
Me.
bringing.
Look, lost masculine frame. But I'm supposed to think that you're some sort of, wow, I'm so masculine. He lost control here. Look at his eyes.
Yeah, he's like pissed. He's
Right?
pissed. Yeah.
Like, and the thing is, it was already explained who provides the funding for the Blaze, because the Blaze says a lot of things that a lot of people don't agree with. So they're not going to get a lot of advertisers because just, without even examining their position or why they hold the position, they're marked as hate, right? That means advertisers are not really going to pay to have their products hawked on that platform, even if there are well-heeled customers that they could get from hawking their product there. I don't understand how people are shaming these companies for advertising everywhere to get paid, right? I think that's really dumb, because why do you care about where other people advertise if you're not over there with that content?
Yeah.
But whatever. So you have to read the super chats, because you have to show the respect. And she already mentioned this. You have to show the respect to the people who are funding the Blaze.
Yeah.
So and they already said, no matter what is being said, they are going to read the super chat, right?
Right.
So what does he do? Not only does he lose masculine frame, but then he directs his venom towards her as if she wrote it,
Yeah.
right? Like, dude, you lost.
This up right here and right now.
Me.
Why are you doing this to me?
I didn't know that. I didn't know what it was.
What is more feminine? What is a more feminine response than that? What is a more what is a more feminine response than "Why are you doing this to me"?
I think that Cindy Watson's more of a man than him, but that's just my opinion. Like, honestly, because
Nah, she's too hot.
no, but you know what I'm saying. What I'm
And
saying,
I'm pretty sure she could take that man meat a little bit better between the cheeks than this guy. It looks better. It's more appealing. I'd rather watch that.
But what I'm saying is that's how feminine he's being right now. Like she's being like kind of relatively calm, and we can get to just keep rolling the clip. Actually, there's something.
And the thing is, and here's another thing you guys have to realize. Look at her body language, right? Look at her body language. And I heard a woman say this very recently, a black woman on another platform say this, that when they sense weakness in men, it was a Middle Eastern woman on the Lapeef Network. Shout out to the Lapeef Network. I love what they do over there. They had a Middle Eastern woman that basically likened women to being like cats, right? Mm-hmm. And the minute that they sense any weakness, they pounce, right? Look at the look on this woman's face right here, right?
Yeah.
She picked up on his weakness and she's excited. Look at the look on her face. Right now, she's not gonna, continue. She's not gonna. She's trying to hide the fact that this has now become extremely amusing.
Yeah.
To her, not because people keep going in on him because he keeps, going in on him because of the article that he wrote. She is loving the reaction. She doesn't want to show too much because that will show him up. And then if he goes across the room and punches her in the face, she don't want that. But it's clear to me that she's enjoying this reaction because she sensed weakness in this man.
Well, just use a little bit of fucking common sense.
Sorry, apologies.
Yeah. Fuck you. Heartfelt.
Elizabeth Harrison says, gonna miss the show, but have a good break. IHTAC, what's that?
He choked on his bitch assness. I'm sorry. That shit is hilarious to me. Like everybody in the room has recognized him as you kind of put it, the least masculine being in the room.
Yeah. It's one of those things though, like with the that male co-host is you think he should have been like, hey dude, like calm down, or just let it keep playing like he did.
I just let him show the world who he truly is. I mean, the dude almost choked laughing.
Yeah.
He wasn't laughing at what the woman said.
Yeah.
He kind of let it sink in what he just saw. And he's like, uh-oh, I think we just found this guy who just pulled his skirt up.
Yeah.
This guy, I literally was just coughing. It's just an inconvenient cough.
Noah Fox says, Sydney,
Said an inconvenient cough. I think he almost said an inconvenient cuck.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was going to say. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Very much. Try to think says, YG, just buy a damn house already. And
See? Loss of masculine frame. Right there.
Yep.
When you storm off, no, you're not getting anybody's respect. You're just not.
No. But I think this goes into a greater topic. I think that people put too much of their what should be private lives out there in public. You know what I mean? Because when you're 20 years old, or I don't know how old he is when he made that article. Let's say even if he was like, I don't know, he looked like in his mid 40s, right? 50s. Let's just say he was 30-year-old or whatever, mid 30s when he made that article. Like you can change over time. And I think some things just need to stay private, right? Like things you might be into, things you like to do. And I think it's one of those things that like when you become a public figure, a lot of that stuff that you think quote unquote is private on the internet comes out to be like, discovered by people and you could be mocked for it. So if you're not comfortable with people finding out certain things about yourself on the internet, don't post them. You know what I mean? Don't post anything on the internet. You would be ashamed for people to find out.
But I don't think that he did that. I think that he thought that he was the big man on campus.
Right.
And his confidence had yet to have been tested. And then when it was tested, then it became clear to him, maybe I should not have written that article.
But my thing is this, is that, you know, he had to have some inkling internally, right, that he didn't necessarily like how that portrayed himself, or even with those videos that came out, he wouldn't be like to be looked at in that certain way. And, you know, it bothers him, right? So obviously he doesn't have, I would say, the mental.
That's why I used the synonym in the first place. Yeah. Not the synonym. He used the fake name.
Yeah. But
pseudonym. That's the word I was looking for.
Pseudonym. But I just think, honestly, man, is you got to be careful what you put out there. And I think we get into a greater discussion if you kind of want to parlay it into it, or if you have any finishing thoughts about Jack Murphy.
We're gonna look at the end of this fucking clip, because this is just fucking comedy gold.
Okay, let's roll
on the sleigh. We're very, very happy to have had that. Anyways, Sydney, do you want to close us out?
You want me to fuck it up one last time?
Yes, last time, mess it up.
Guys, we will be back in early January. We will miss you, and we do hope that you guys have a really, really, really happy and safe Christmas and a happy New Year as well. And we will be, on our own socials as well, so you can always follow us there. As we like to say here, life is, in fact, a lot of bullshit, and unfortunately, you are here, and so are we. And we will see you in a few weeks. Like I said, stay safe and well. Have a great rest of your evening. Have a great weekend, and a Merry, Merry Christmas.
Oh. Okay, so maybe that was a little bit overblown.
Yeah, it was overblown.
Yeah, that was a little overblown. But again, but he didn't say anything. I mean, I don't. If you're uncomfortable, it's better not to say anything, because if we're being honest, he kind of fucked himself up. Yeah. He fucked himself up by continuing to keep talking, and I think he realized that he was already behind, so he quit while he was behind and shut the fuck up. If if he stormed off, that would be like if it was like in the middle, and after he had that diatribe, he walked off. That would be him storming off, right? He wait until the show was over, and then he took his leave, as a man should. But the only thing is, he already lost his frame at that moment, and so anything that he does after is going to be seen in a less than masculine light, whether or not he made the right move or not, because now people see you a different way.
So, definitely kind of over. He didn't really storm. He just walked off the set. So that's not that big of a deal to me. Whatever. He was just upset. I do agree. If you do have, it's probably better off to keep your mouth shut. Just get out of there if you were really uncomfortable. But like I said, it goes into that, what I said earlier. I think that if you aren't, completely 100% fine with someone seeing something that you made right now, 10 years from now, do not do it. I'm sorry. Just do not do it.
Yeah, but that's kind of like this stupid ass. When I used to come off the FDR Drive with 23rd Street, there was an advertisement that they had at a bus stop, I think of First Avenue and 23rd, where they were saying to people that they should not drink and drive. And to me, it's the stupidest thing ever. Why? Because when you see the message, it makes sense when you're sober. But when you're drunk, you're not paying attention to that message because you're in a different frame of mind at that point. So it's a useless message to send, in my opinion. No. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, see, I disagree with you, because if you are in a sober state of mind, you are sober before you go to the bar, right? And
right.
If you realize you're driving, then you make the responsible decision like me and you would make, right? Well, I don't really drink anymore, but
I don't drink at all anyway, but I get the point.
But like, I made the decision, okay, I'll have a couple and I'll, use my head and be like, okay, like a couple beers, wait a little bit, and then I'll drive home, because I don't want to drive home drunk. I do get where you're coming from, that if people are going to be fucking stupid, they'll make stupid decisions, or if people are in a...
No, that's not even the point I'm making. That's not the point I'm making.
People in an intoxicated state aren't going to make the greatest decisions.
That's the point I'm making.
So, but my thing is this, is like, you start out originally in a sober state of mind, right? Quote unquote. that you should be able to let me have some forethought before I make some stupid decisions, right? That's just my opinion. That's why you have those. That's why you have those messages out there. You should go into it, right? As being men is how we want to teach these young kids or even young adults, right? That me and you are pretty successful in our careers. Is you always got to be calculating in your mind how something right now is going to affect you later, right? Because certain decisions you make as a young man will affect you later on in life. And all I'm saying is, all I'm trying to preach here is that if you truly aren't comfortable with, like, if you're doing porn, for example, having porn out there about you 10 years from now, or writing an article, about, you getting pegged by 5 guys, like,
ain't the same. Getting pegged would be a woman taking you down.
Oh, well, whatever. Getting penetrated by 5 Charlies.
You're just.
It is what it is. I'm just saying.
Just getting that meat.
Just make sure you're completely comfortable. If you're completely comfortable with people finding out 10 years from now that you let 5 guys blow out your back, whatever. But if you aren't, don't do that video.
I wonder if he does have back problems.
I mean, probably. But it's just one of those things that I just believe living your life in a private manner. I think that, we see it. A lot of like youth now, a lot of teenagers are on the internet. I think things are far more public than they need to be. I think there's another topic we get into another day with family vlogs about parents, even including their kids in vlogs.
Oh, we're going to go in on that.
Them exposing them to, an adult audience and stuff like that. I just think personally, people are far, 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 far too giving about what they do in their daily lives. Like, I don't give a fuck what you eat for dinner. I don't give a fuck what you did last night. Have some semblance of privacy. It's just we live in this age where everyone's got to be so self-absorbed. Got to take a picture. Got to take a selfie. Got to do a bunch of stupid shit.
That's definitely a different conversation for a forthcoming episode, because we need to break that down in its entirety, because it is going to have some very long lasting consequences for a lot of different segments of our society. And we are going to break that down at a future time. But until that time, we're signing off. And we're going to sign off this way because we don't have any catchphrases yet. So this is our sign off without a catchphrase. Peace.
Don't blow out your back.